Do you like Pokemon cards? Yeah, you probably do. I mean, I can only assume you do if you're watching the video. Do you like to collect for value, or do you like to collect to see a bunch of cards sprawled out on a wall? Do you like to try out the Herculean task of attempting to complete every set ever printed, spending thousands and thousands of dollars to achieve your goal? What if I told you you could achieve something that could make you plenty happy by spending as low as $2, and maybe even less in some cases? Hello everyone, my name is Donter, and I'm on my mission to surpass the 100 subscriber mark by the end of 2024. We're at 89, no, we're at 92 awesome subscribers. I'm so grateful that you've all chosen me. You've all chosen me for not only information regarding Pokemon cards, but also just my opinions regarding artwork in the Pokemon TCG. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. What artist is right for you? And what do I mean by this, you may ask? Well, I mean, when you see a certain Pokemon, your eyes are drawn to it. And why? If it's money, then that's not really what we're going to be talking about in this video. So look at the actual artwork itself. I know that I said something about not caring about money, but for this example, let's look at the most iconic card in the Sword and Shield era of Pokemon cards, the Umbreon VMAX alternate artwork from Evolving Skies. Obviously, the artwork is appealing, which is a good reason for its value. Do you even know who illustrated it? Or are you here to just catch in a paycheck? On every Pokemon card, the illustrator is always listed. Even if you have a bunch of random V Pokemon cards that all look like they're the same 3D generated arts, one look at the illustrator can tell you everything. For example, our Umbreon VMAX, the illustrator is Keiichiro Ito, all caps. If you look on Cerebi, which is a website that I use frequently to look at all artists, you can see at the top that the artist is listed as the same person I just mentioned, Keiichiro Ito. It says they've illustrated 47 cards. Alright, well, how are we even going to buy all these cards? Or where can I even begin to look where to get them? You may be asking. I have the answer to that, and you may have to pull out your phone for this one. The app I'm showing you in this video is TCG Player, free app for mobile devices. Not only is the app good for purchasing and viewing cards like a store, but you can create collections on the app, which will be useful for this example. Having your Cerebi page for Keiichiro Ito open to see all the cards that are available, and putting them in the app should be a simple process. So let me show you. All you have to do is go down to the bottom here, at Collection, and you can see a few options. You need to tap on the Create New List button, and you can start adding to your heart's content. Let me show you a few examples first. Now, let me show you what the full complete list looks like. Alright, this is the complete list, and you can tell that the total amount is almost $1,000. Outrageous, right? Well, 99% of that total is from the Umbreon VMAX card, but there are also a couple cards worth a few dollars shoved in there. So what gives? It's supposed to be 47 cards, and not 45, which is what it lists on the app. Well, we are missing two cards, the Grapple-locked Uncommon card from Paradise Dragona, and Dusk Noir Japanese Sun and Moon promo. These two can easily be found on eBay, which is where we're going to stay for the next hack. If you absolutely love that Umbreon VMAX, which I don't blame you for, it's a cool card. There are technically alternatives, whether it be a sketchy unofficial knockoff, crappy gold card, which you can buy for around $10 on places like eBay, or an official, far cheaper version. The market price of the Umbreon VMAX is $961 for a near mint copy at the recording of this video. Wow, that's a lot. Luckily, there are technically cheaper, officially licensed alternatives. If language is not a big deal to you, and you just care about the artwork itself, you can find a copy of the Umbreon VMAX in both Korean as well as Chinese for roughly $300 on eBay. I'll show two listings right now. Still, a massive amount of money, but you are saving $600, and for the Chinese version, the quality is technically better, as it uses the same printing process that the Japanese cards do, making it an even higher quality than the English version. You could also purchase a copy of the Moltres pre-release promo from eBay in Japanese, and look up S12A Galarian Moltres Holo. There are two listings for around $1, as opposed to the English version's $4 to $5. It's a small difference, but it makes a big difference in the long run. The Pheasantipede AR, or Art Rare, for $2 on eBay is something you could buy, as opposed to $5.37, saving you around $3.37, which is a pretty big difference just from going from English to Japanese. Our grand total comes all the way from over $1,000 to $337, give or take. Well, my tricks have cut down the cost to almost a third of the original price, and that's just accounting for one card. For most other artists, you wouldn't even have to do all this, but those tricks can help you spend as little amount of money as possible on this thing we call a hobby. Next, let's get to the topic of the video. which is how I choose my favorite artist, out of a sea of hundreds and hundreds of different, unique, and amazing artists. Well, I got two methods. My first is taking a recent set and skimming through it, seeing if any cards evoke any kind of emotion out of you, and going from there. The second one is picking a set specifically from these sets, Neo Revelation, Neo Destiny, EX Hollow Phantoms, and the E-Series sets of Expedition, Aquapolis, and Skyridge. These are some of my personal favorite vintage sets, and have some amazing artworks inside each of the sets. Let's go off my modern example, and I'll just talk about the most recently released set as of the recording of this video, Stellar Crown. I'm going to go to Cerebi and show you how I do this. Alright, we made it to Cerebi. So going down the list, I like to just click on the first card here, and just kind of go through the list. 5-band graphics, not very interesting to me. Whisker, sure, let's look at Whisker's cards. So opening a new tab and going to Whisker, we can see that Whisker has illustrated 4 cards, being the Psyduck from 151, art rare, which looks really nice, actually. I quite like it. The Hisuian Growlithe from Twilight Masquerade also looks quite nice, in my opinion. The Persian, art rare from Shrouded Fable, I think it looks really cool. And the Ladybug. This would be the perfect time to start collecting this artist, as they pretty much just started their journey in 151. Getting these cards in Japanese would further bring down the price, and you'd probably be looking at something like $5 for all those cards. Alright, well that was a pretty easy example, so let's find another one. Let's see. Which one evokes emotion in you? I think there are a couple that actually do for me, especially in the set. So let's bring you to an example of a card that I actually quite like, which is the Charcadet. This is by illustrator KRGC, who is also a pretty recent artist. Let's see. Yeah, perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. And this one is like a reprint in Japanese. It's probably not cheaper just because it's like an exclusive card. This one is just like a common. Yeah, some really nice looking artworks. So you got a Scorch, you got an Infernape, a Whirlipede, Sneasel, and Charcadet. These are all pretty easy to find. So Temporal Forces, Scorch is a common. Twilight Masquerade is probably going to be the hardest card you're going to find is the Infernape, which is an art rare. Again, I recommend just purchasing the Japanese versions of the cards. They look just as good, and they're usually way cheaper. I mean, if the card itself is cheap enough, then why not just buy it at that point, right? Yeah, I just go through this list, and if I see any artwork that I really like, I just click on it, and I do some further investigation. That's pretty much how I do it for newer sets. I think that choosing an older artist would be a lot harder, especially considering they usually have many more cards. But choosing a newer artist would be a good thing, because they have way less cards. You could start early, and you could keep up to date if you really want to. I could show you the exact same thing for vintage cards, but I think you get the idea by now. Well, that was it for this video. I hope I helped you find your new favorite artist in the Pokemon TCG, and hopefully you can share that with me in the comments below. I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.